Thank you, Hunter. I'm really excited, really looking forward to having this conversation. I was just saying to Rob, I'm off to the Palace on the 1st to go and collect my actual medal, so which is a great honor. So I'm really excited, and it just feels a bit surreal, really, because it's not why I do the work. I do the work because I want to, and it's really nice when you get a recognition like this. So really grateful to Power to Fly, as always, for supporting and championing people in your network. So thank you again.
Thank you. Can you tell us for some of our international audience what that is, what this award is that you're about to receive?
Okay, so in the New Year's, the King picks about 1,000 people across the whole of the UK and the Commonwealth, and I've got an Order of the British Empire. So it's a medal for my work with refugees and migrants and my work on women's rights. So as you know, I evacuated over 400 people out of Afghanistan. Last year, I was involved with 16 countries to support diplomats to leave Lebanon and Sudan and Ukraine. So it's really nice to be recognized for that complicated work. And I think, the world is in a very difficult, challenging time. And actually, I feel grateful to be able to do my little bit for society and do that. And to be called to the palace, and I promise to tag you all when I get my photograph, whether it's going to be Princess Anne, King Charles, or Prince William. They're the only three that can give you the medal on the day. So it's all exciting. I've ordered
When
a
is
hat as well. I have to wear a hat.
Oh, yes, of course. You're in the palace.
Yes. And you know what? I have to learn to courtesy as well. Can you believe this as well? So it's all exciting. It's all great fun.
When is it happening?
On the 1st of April. It's no April Fool's joke. It's no joke.
Did you have to double check, or did you realize,
Yeah,
stop
yeah,
pulling my leg?
yeah. It's a good thing I've had a lot of like official letters from the palace, and yeah, it's all exciting. I'm really excited about that. But no, really looking forward to you and I having a good conversation again.
Yeah, absolutely. And congratulations.
Oh no, thank you, Hunter. Brilliant. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So let's talk about authentic leadership. What does that mean to you, and how do you ensure that you lead in a way that aligns with your values?
Brilliant question. For me, I've always been a bit of a straight shooter, as you know, and I think that for me, I've always wanted to bring my whole self to the table. So being a woman, an Asian woman, all of those things are really important. But I have people in my network, friends and colleagues who sometimes will listen to that little voice, the imposter syndrome voice in their head, and not really be themselves. And I keep saying to them, look, what's the worst that can happen? Because when you're wasting so much energy, whether you may have a bit of dyslexia. I mean, listen, I can't do a spreadsheet to save my life. Yeah. And I'm very honest about that. But
Yeah.
I'm not going to pretend to do something that I can't. And actually, I'm not scared to ask for help when I need it. I
Mm,
also know my strengths. I know what I'm good at, like communicating, building partnerships, and able to work in very difficult situations. But when it comes to sometimes day-to-day admin tasks, I need that help. And that's where being authentic and being genuine with employees and colleagues and knowing to ask for help to say, look, actually, these are my limitations. I'm not perfect. I'm not good at everything. I can't do everything. That people will respect and want to help you. Now, if I was pretending to take other people's work, so you could be working for me, Hunter, and you've done the presentation, I will say, I'm come here to deliver this, but actually this has been created by one of my staff, because actually I always recognize the people in my network and around me who do the work. And I've worked in places where I've worked with some pretty bad bosses where you've done all the work and all of a sudden they'll rock up at a meeting and they'll present and everybody knows that they're just reading the slides. I think for me, I don't even really use slides because I want to talk about the topic and engage with people. So being an authentic leader really is about accepting who you are and celebrating your difference. Be brave enough to ask for help when you need it. And don't waste time on your insecurities and your imposter syndrome. We all have gone through that. It's learning to shut down that voice in your head.
yeah. And I also heard in there, credit where credit is due, right?
Yeah.
Acknowledging the people that have helped you or are
Yeah.
helping you along the way.
Yeah. No I in team.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
reminds me of like I've seen it on a TV show or something where, the like in Downton Abbey or something, and
Yeah.
to bring it back to the palace, and
Yeah,
like
yeah, let's do this.
exactly, like the downstairs makes this lavish meal, and then the hostess
Yeah,
comes out and it's like she made it all, and you're like,
yeah.
we all know you didn't make it.
No, exactly. And you know what? This is where people insult people's intelligence. You will know, like, you and I will rock up and do the, like, come and do our bit, but there's a whole team of people behind the scenes that are doing all the comms and promotions and everything else behind. And I think that we have to respect people and look at what people bring to that table with you. And for me, again, once you smash it, it really is about like bringing people up with you. And this is where, when I talk about sending the elevator down, Hunter, it is once you make it to the top, it's really lonely. You shouldn't step on
Mm,
people because you never know when you may fall from grace. So it's really important that one stays humble, hungry, but actually, you know, really real to themselves, and if that makes sense, and it's really important.
yeah. As someone who's overcome significant barriers, what are some of the top leadership lessons you've learned that you'd like to share with others that are maybe just starting that journey?
So I would say, first of all, fear is not real. It's only real inside your head. I learned that when I was in my 20s, over 3 decades ago, that because actually it's so easy to allow community, society, and all those things that are in my community of being a South Asian woman, that sometimes people will tell you to live a life a certain way. But I've always been somewhat different and been outside the bell curve. So for me, I've always like decided that I want to um accept the opportunities that come my way. And sometimes, you know what, I've been asked to go and speak somewhere, or I've been asked to attend somewhere, and I kind of just say yes, and I just accept it. Then I think, oh my God, what have I done? But then, you know what, I go with that because of the fear. I just think, no, I have to let it go and just be there. Because sometimes, you know what, I've gone into places and there are people 100 times more intelligent and brighter and have a lot more different skill sets to me, in whether it's in the tech industry or something like that. And I've learned my space and I know what I bring to the table. I know where I fit into the puzzle. I'm not pretending to fit into other jigsaw pieces where I know that I'm not going to fit, if that makes sense. So for me, the question is, it's about when an opportunity comes, shut down the voice in your head and think, okay, let's go for it. And I'll give you a good example because I was asked to come and speak at the House of Representatives about 7 or 8 years ago. And I thought, wow, this is just really amazing. And then I thought, bloody hell, what am I going to do when I get there? And, this is like the most powerful place on the planet. And then I came in my space of my work around women's rights, refugee rights, violence against women, because it was around educating congressmen and senators and that around the real issues in the ground in America and globally. And then what I've realized is when I've gone to the World Economic Forum, I've used those platforms to talk about issues that are important to me. So it comes back to being authentic and staying in my lane, if that makes sense. I'm not going to pretend to be something for someone else's table to fit into it. I come in and I'm like, this is Mandy, and this is what I'm bringing to the table. I want to use your platform to talk about diversity or violence against women or about refugees, or whether I go to the UN. And just yesterday, I flew in yesterday morning from Washington, and I was at the Capitol yesterday, and I took young people with me. So again, 3 different groups of young people to come and meet congressmen and senators and giving them the opportunity because they wouldn't have that opportunity. So it really is about paying it forward, giving people an opportunity once you make it, and also share your network.
Who did that for you when you were younger?
Do you know, I've met some pretty cool people in my life, and I've been very lucky that I've met people like Kofi Annan and people like that who have given me an opportunity and helped me to navigate situations where I probably can't believe that I ended up going there. And then
Mhm.
I've met people in my network, and I think your vibe attracts your tribe. And I kind of listen to my intuition a lot. Do you know what? I kind of see through nonsense, and I don't know where that comes from. I think my faith and being spiritual, that kind of helps me a little bit. I think I can see when I go to Davos to the World Economic Forum, the 5% of the decent people you can count and pretty much on one hand, and everyone else is there to see what kind of ruthless deal they can do with you, or cutthroat culture. I think I kind of see those people. I'm polite and civil to those people. I just don't allow them into my space. And I'm not scared to ask for help. I think that that's something where it comes back to me being authentic and actually saying to you, Hunter, look, actually, do you know what? I really can't do this. Could you help me? Because I don't know how to code, or I don't know how to do something. And I think people are willing to help you and do that. I've met my fair share of not so great people, but then you know what I do? I politely just say thank you for the lesson, and I move on and not sort of stand on trying to settle scores because I'm better than that, and I don't have time for that. I'm just moving on with my lane and moving on with where I want to be.
But I'm not holding a resentment.
No, you can't do that. Life is so short, isn't it? But the problem is you spend time in spaces feeling like, oh my God, I should have got that job and I didn't get it and I'm feeling hard done by. I don't really look at it like that, because I always look at it, if that job or that opportunity wasn't for me, maybe God can see things I can't see. I need to go away and we can do that.
Hmm.
Yeah,
What
if
are
that makes sense.
It does, yeah. What are some of the common barriers to equality in leadership, and how have you been actively working to break them down?
Oh my God. So that's a really good question. One is around for women for like equal pay. I mean, like in the UK, women are still nearly paid less than a quarter, less than men. I was in America just recently, been at the UN and realizing that Black women are paid less. We're seeing Latino women are paid even less in the dollar to their counterparts. So there's a lot of work to be done. And again, this is about being a mentor, creating real opportunities. I do a lot of work in the neurodiverse space as well, because I've mentored people with like autism and Asperger's, because I can see their potential. I don't see that they have those labels that society gives them, because I know that, again, they got 100 times better skills than I have on certain tech industry things. But actually, it's about working with the companies. So, like, say, with Microsoft or whatever company that I'm linked to say to them, look, actually, Hunter is really amazing. He's so good. But actually, this policy of yours of hot desking, changing his desk every day, is not going to work, because Hunter needs routine and structure. Now, if you keep moving his things every morning off the desk, he's going to spend half a day in chaos trying to get that sorted. You're really not being productive. And then also by getting them a coach, getting them a mentor, you doing that yourself, training them the etiquette about how to be there, doing touchdown, and also being a sponsor and giving people real seats at the table. You have to practice what you preach. And again, like I said, taking young people along to the UN last week and to the capital yesterday, you have to really practice what you preach. You have to create real opportunities and look at those chances. And I genuinely believe in paying it forward. I'm sure I probably said this to you before. My glass is so full that I have to tip it forward so new opportunities come in mind, because otherwise we all have a mindset and it's very easy to slip into the skirty mindset and think, oh, actually, I'm not going to let that go. Because if you do that, then nothing new is going to come into your life. And I think that this is how the universe works. And maybe it's my own faith and belief and being spiritual that guides me to do that.
What does it look like to be a good sponsor or mentor?
Again, this is about giving real opportunities, not about lip service. You need to give constructive feedback. And if I know that somebody's got skills, I actually try and upskill you on areas where I know that you need that. So I will say to people, okay, what kind of a job do you really want to go to? Show me the job description. I have a lot of friends that end up in what I would call like middle management, the sticky middle. They don't know how to get beyond that. They don't know how to crack that glass ceiling. They kind of got comfortable in the zone because they pays their bills. They're quite happy on the middle management, and that's okay. Some of them have ambition, but they don't know how to do things. So I always say to them, okay, so what's the next job you want? So you want to be a senior manager. get the senior manager job description and look at it. Look at where you've been working on that. So, Hunter, you've doing over 50% of that, but actually, there's another 20% actually you could probably do, but you hadn't really thought about it. And then it's about asking, could I look at trying that with you the next time you do this meeting, or when the next time you're doing that presentation? Could I join you? Can I learn that from you? It's teaching people those skills as well as creating those opportunities for people and taking people along. And actually, just before I went to America, I was invited to an international women's event for a local authority in the UK, local to me. And I nominated over 10 other women in that organization that I knew. And because for me, about being an ally and a sponsor was about raising their voices and their names in a room full of opportunities. I'm not intimidated or threatened by somebody else's career because I'm so blessed and grateful for my own
Mm.
that a real champion and a real sponsor will raise your voice and your name in rooms full of opportunities. And I'm not scared to connect people to my network. If you said to me, Mandy, and like I just spoken to Rob before you and I jumped on, I was like, oh, I need to connect you to somebody who works in the gaming industry because I just think you're going to be a good fit. I'm not scared to connect people in my network because people will build their own different relationships with people. So the relationship I have with Rob will be different to what you have. So I'm not going to be intimidated by your relationship because do you understand? Because we create our own. But the problem is people spend so much time worried about somebody that they know. Like I went to Congress, I met people and I mentor somebody, and one of the young men that I rescued out of Afghanistan now works for a congresswoman, and I was so proud of him. And but for me, I just went and met him for a coffee. I didn't need to meet him at the Hill to think, oh, I need to be connected to your congresswoman because there's nothing that I need from that congresswoman. I don't need to. But there was somebody in America who works in her state. And I said, oh, I need to connect you to my young person because actually I think that you guys will have synergy. So that's how it works. And this is how it means to be a sponsor for me.
I love that. And there's an abundance quality there. There's instead of, oh, I don't want you to tap into my resources, it's you're keeping it flowing.
I don't know if that's part of like how I see the world works, or maybe how I understand the universe or faith works. Because we all have different belief systems, and I don't impose mine on anybody. But for me, that's how I see that life works, and it's just a flow, and you're a source of energy, and you're just moving along and doing good and bringing people along. And the more that you do, the more amazing things happen in your life. And that's just how I see it, that my vibe attracts my tribe.
I wrote
Yeah.
that one down when you said that. I was like, oh, that's got to go right on a post-it note right here.
Yeah.
And when you were talking about the moving the desks around, I'm like, that sounds like my personal hell. I
Yeah.
would go, absolutely. I am very like this goes here and this goes here. That sounds
Yeah, exactly. But do you know
horrendous.
what? People do that. But these are such common sense issues, though. Do you
Yeah,
not think, Hunter? These are so simple things that it actually costs you nothing.
right.
But actually, and it's about you showing respect and understanding and actually looking after your staff.
Yeah. So you've been in some pretty harrowing situations, and
Yeah.
you mentioned earlier that fear is only in our minds. And I'm curious how you made that shift. Was it always like that? Was there a moment? Is it a compounded experience?
Don't, I'm not going to advocate this to anyone. Don't jump out of a plane and do a bungee jump like I do or something. I love adrenaline. But however, it was something that I just did it because I kind of thought, okay, I just need, because it's not real. Because, I grew up in a South Asian community and the community can put a lot of things on you. I mean, I guess I grew up in a loving home and I had first child, first grandchild, and all those sort of things. And it gave me a really strong sense of self-worth. But when I meet friends and peers in my age group, they still have a lot of those voices in their head. I think for me, um, I just kind of, I guess it's my gut and my instinct that kind of just shows me, do you know what? And as I got older, and I'm a lot older now, is that I kind of see through the BS of people, really. I really do. And I kind of know when people are not authentic. I kind of think I'm not going to waste my energy because it's very easy. for people to pick on your insecurity, your imposter syndrome, and raise that voice by 100% for you if you allow them.
Yep.
So I don't
Yep.
let anyone have that control. I'm kind of the master of my own destiny. And by doing that, I've been able to go into places that even I've never imagined in my wildest dreams growing up in a South Asian community and been able to, when the first time I went to the UN, I mean, I've been back God knows how many times, I don't even know, I can't count, going to the Parliament and Congress and the European Parliament, the World Economic Forum. These are NASA, the places that most people would go to one place. It comes back to that mindset. Once you've gone, you're holding onto that chair and you're not bringing it forward. You're not bringing other people up. Then you're stuck there because your mindset. I'm
Yeah.
very grateful when these opportunities happen. I just kind of let it go and I think, okay, this is amazing. But I'm also letting other people come up with me for that ride, like taking so many young people. I mean, I did a little slideshow and I shouted out to the girls and, they were just, and that's what it is for me. I think that's what makes me happy that and like the refugees and, the work that I do, Hunter, is not easy. Evacuating people out of conflicts and the world is so divided. And sometimes, I mean, since October the 7th, I've stood up for violence against women, and it's been very difficult to have a stance because the media and people want you to take a side. And I'm being very honest, and I will say, look, I'm in my lane. I'm not saying what somebody else is doing is proportionate or right, but however, you have to stand with your moral compass and you have to stand up for what you believe that is right for you. I guess I never follow the crowd either. Like I said, always been outside the bell curve. Yeah,
Leadership roles. So authentic leadership doesn't just mean being nice or helpful. How do you be authentic with someone that you completely disagree with and that you're trying to come to a solution with?
that's a good question. Um, you're going to meet a lot of people in life, and especially in the workplace, that don't share your values or they don't have your vision. They most certainly don't have your values. And when you're in business and you're trying to do deals, people the other side of their nature comes out. And I realize that I can only be responsible for my own emotions and my own how I feel with things. But I'm not scared to tell people what I'm thinking. And again, that comes back with confidence, knowing myself. And I will say to somebody, do you know what? I've allowed you to do that to me once. You will not get a second chance with that because actually I clocked what you did, but I wasn't going to be unprofessional and call you out in that meeting. Just let me tell you, Hunter, I knew that, but it will not happen again
Mm.
because actually I know people in different places as well. And I guess comes down to confidence. And again, I don't let those people rent space in my head because they're not that important. But however, I will be brave enough to call it out. And I think that it comes back to being a straight shooter, not being scared of other people. It really is about sort of saying to people, yeah, I saw that, but you're not going to do that again. And it is very difficult. And I've walked away from things, I've walked away from events and business deals where I know in my gut that that wasn't right. It doesn't feel right for me. I know that actually I don't like this person because there's something off on their energy. I don't think it's right. And when I've gone against my gut feeling, trust me, it's ended in disaster. It really has. And I'm like so annoyed about it. And I'm thinking I should have dealt with that better. But I guess, you learn as you get older as well.
How do you whittle that focus with your intuition with those learning experiences? What makes you go, oh, this is one of those moments I need to listen to it?
Do you know what? Everyone. I think if people listen to your gut, you'll never really go wrong. But we're all human. We meet people, and I think, oh no, I want to give them the benefit of the doubt,
Yeah.
and that's natural and that's human, isn't it? But what I've done is I've kind of going to go into deal or going to do business. I think, okay, I need to go and take a walk. I need to take a break. I need to take myself out of the situation. If I still have this feeling in the morning, I'm going to just say, look, I'm really sorry. I just I don't think this is going to work. It's just something doesn't feel right for me on a personal level, but I wish you well with your business deal. it's just not for me. And actually, I've walked away from a lot of situations like that. And people, you know, and if you know me, like me and you've spoken a few times, I'm really generous and quite, very want to help people. I'm not scared to like share my network and do whatever I want to, but I'm not stupid. I also know when people are trying to be there. I think do you understand that? I don't know if it comes with age. I think I've known that all the time as I've been growing up. I think, like I says, I have a radar for nonsense. Yeah. I don't know if it's a British thing though.
I love a radar for nonsense. That's
Yeah.
almost sounds like a punk band from the 80s or something. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. Oh, thank you again. It's been so cool being on here with you again.
Always, always a delight. So, how can folks stay connected with you?
If
How do
people
people
want to
sign
follow
up?
on LinkedIn, and if there's questions that people have and they want to ask, please feel free to ask. And again, thank you to Power to Fly and you as well. It's always a pleasure. It really is. It's nice because we can have a nice natural conversation, which I really like, and I hopefully share some tips and wisdoms, or if not, I was authentic all the way through.
You were definitely an authentic leader, absolutely. And I certainly learned a few things. Is there anything else coming up that we should tune in, check out?
Obviously, as you know, it goes to the palace, and then I'm
Can we watch
taking
that? Can I watch you curtsy in your hat somehow?
You will do. Okay, with the video. I'm buying the video. We will
Oh,
share the
good.
video. Oh my God. And you know what? Let me just, this is a funny thing though. I never wear heels if anyone knows me, but I have to buy some heels and yeah, so we're practicing this with heels, yeah, because if it was in just boots and that, I would be cooking on gas, but let's see. We'll all be doing this. God, you know what? This is like this is me out of my comfort zone, by the way. Heels and a hat. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I always wear dresses, but yeah, come on. You got to do this right now. So King or Princess San, we don't know who it is, but you will definitely get to see the video. I will post it on my LinkedIn, I promise.
Oh, excellent. I cannot wait. Are heels required in the palace, or is this a
No, they're not. They're
cool?
not, but they'll go with the dress. So it's not going to go. Is it sneakers and a nice dress? Maybe not. Yeah, come on.
Oh,
You
it's
got to
going to
do
be
the
great.
fashion. Sometimes you got to see this is about pushing yourself out your comfort zone.
Yes, absolutely. Well, have a great time. Congratulations, and thank you
Thank
again.
you. And thank you again. And lovely seeing you again. Thank you.
Lovely to see you
Thank
too,
you.
Mandy.
Good.
Cheers.
Thank you. Bye bye.